Hey everyone, my name is Loudon, and in this video I'm breaking down my experience with the research project in this class and how I plan to use what I learned moving forward. So for the first question, identifying a problem, analyzing causes, examining solutions, and looking at assumptions and unintended consequences. One of the things that hits me the hardest while identifying a problem clearly is because at first you know, I have huge messy ideas in my head, and it wasn't until I forced to narrow it down that I realized how much easier everything becomes when you know what what you're researching. Once I locked in the real problem, the rest of the process stopped feeling like me guessing and more of me just honestly just it's assumptions and unintended consequences that just sticks with you because it makes me slow down and think about the real world, the fallout of the decisions, instead of just throwing out solutions like they exist in a vacuum. I know that's something I'll carry into the future or into future classes and into my career because, life doesn't give you, clean problems and clean answers. For the second question, what worked for me during research and what advice I'd give, breaking my topic into keywords and instead of typing full questions for me honestly was a game changer because it actually pulled up academic sources instead of random internet noise, right? But I also kept my sources organized from the start, which saved me from the classic, where did I see that meltdown? But I was able to do that. I know I paraphrased more than I quoted, so I actually understood what I was reading, and I cited everything immediately so I didn't have to backtrack it later. My advice is simply and straight up, use the school databases and then take quick notes on each source and cite as you go. It makes everything so much easier and less chaotic. Now for the third question, what conversations in my field I plan to stay how do I plan to stay involved in how, right? I know I want to keep following the discussions around what I research because it's important to me. It's not just academic, right? Because it does show up in, real workplaces and real policies and real people's lives. I know I plan to stay connected by following the professional organizations tied to my major and checking out conferences or webinars or even if I'm just listening, like videos on YouTube for people talking about it and just staying in active school clubs or groups related to my field so I'm not just learning everything in a vacuum, but I plan on looking out and finding more just sources of information so I can analyze it and use it to keep learning. That's the important thing, you know and I'm treating this project as like a starting point for my thought process and not a one and done assignment. So I can kind of keep this ball rolling and keep this knowledge that I have, growing. And overall, this class didn't just teach me how to write a research paper, it taught me how to think more critically about what I'm doing and how to slow down and analyze problems. And instead of just reacting to them, because it doesn't create a good argument or, a good point of view. If, I have the receipts and I can, mention things and talk about things and say, well, this is working and this is this and this is that, then I have more of a foundation to build upon my work. And it helps me approach solutions with a little more maturity and awareness. And that's honestly something I know I'll use in future courses and in the business world or professional world. But thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a nice 4th of July.